Now it's time to see how we can make use of this email GTO class into the real-time email processing. Even though we are simulating it to an email processing standards, but that's not going to follow any real-time libraries to be used to send an email. But the idea here is to ensure how we can make use of this immutable data carrier class straight into the email processing class. Now, before I take you to the execution of that, I would like to reiterate that in the email GTO, which actually I forgot to explain it in the earlier video, we have something called private access specifiers, which we have used here. So at the time of explaining the final, I forgot to explain the private access specifier. This is another important criteria when we define the fields for the email GTO, that is immutable data carrier class. The reason behind marking it as a private is because these fields are already constant, and we are ensuring that these fields are not accessible outside this class. We have restricted these fields from modification, but in spite of that, it's a good practice to be followed while we are creating an immutable data carrier class, that those fields, the list of fields, should never be visible outside to this class. So we are entitled to mark those fields as private members. So all the fields that we are going to list out inside this immutable data carrier class have to be marked as private, so that its visibility is not going to be seen outside to the boundary of this class. So you can make use of this fields to be accessed within the same class, but it doesn't have its visibility outside to the class, and that's why we need to make them as private when we are defining an immutable data carrier class. Okay, now it's time for us to get into action and see what's there inside this email processing class. So what we have here is we have a method called send email, and that send email method takes an input of an email GTO object, which is nothing but the object of this class, which we have defined right now here. And this method is having a static keyword, means this method can be accessed within the static context. So since I'm going to make use of the call of this send email inside this main method, and it is also a boolean where we are returning a boolean value stating that whether the mail have been sent or not. This is just a simulation. We don't have any real-time snippet of code written in order to lively send the email and verify it. Now you can notice that the email GTO object which we have passed on is going to be used for this if validation, where we have this email GTO object is used to get the body field value. So we are using a getter method here. As I already stated, that we don't have the presence of setter methods because we can't update the value of the fields once after it has been it has been defined with a value, default value. And once we get that body value, we are checking whether the value of that field is empty or not. If it is not empty, if the field, the body field is not empty, then technically we can send an email. So I have just given a sysout statement to get the body of it and say the email have been sent, and we are going to return the boolean value of true. If the body field is empty, okay, if it is empty, then probably this if condition is going to be skipped, and it's going to get into the else, and we are going to return the false. So this is what the logic that I have written inside this send email method. Now what we are going to see down is the essential part. So as you can notice that we are using the email GTO object, and the email GTO reference variable is actually carrying the instance, the actual instance of the email GTO. And here where we have forwarded the value for the email, the mail to recipient, the mail CC recipients, and mail from recipient details. And we also have the subject for the mail, and we have the body, the actual body message that need to be set into the email content. Now, all these are the values that go straight into the fields that we have defined inside this email GTO, and those fields values are assigned via the call of the constructor. So as I've already briefed, that we are using a constructor there in order to set the default values to this set of fields that we have, which are final fields. So at the time of creating the instance, it's going to invoke the argumented constructor of this email DTO and going to set all these values. These are all the known facts. We might be aware of it, but I just want to reiterate that this is how technically we make use of the immutable data carrier object, the class, to be instantiated with. Now we are calling the email processing class. I'm using the email processing class and calling the static method called sendImail, and I'm forwarding this object straight into this method, and the rest is all the logic that depends inside the send email method to be get executed. So let's go ahead and run this application right now. So upon running this application, you can notice that the email sent just to ensure the mail works intact. So we get the body of the message, and that's what the message that I've set here, just to ensure the mail works intact. And we are getting the sysout statement to get printed because the body is not empty. If in case this body is empty, then technically it's going to skip this if condition and it's going to get into the else. Now, the usage of the email DTO, the immutable data carrier class, and the object creations are more straightforward. There is nothing new in it. But we need to see how we can migrate this when it comes to the record in Java. So the next video that we are going to see is how we can migrate this email DTO class altogether into a record, and how we are going to make use of that record class to be used here for this use case of this email processing, and how we are going to execute this piece of snippet by carrying an email record object in place of email DTO object.